Okay, let me tell you about the Christmas where my dad, Carl, yes, I call him Carl when I'm annoyed, turned our whole house upside down with his unique gift-giving skills. So, it's been my mission since October to make sure Carl knew exactly what I wanted for Christmas. I told him every single day, Dad, I want a PS5. You got that? A PS5. Not socks, not a football, not whatever random thing you find at the store. A PS5. He'd nod and go, Yeah, I got it, son. PS5. Stop worrying about it. Fast forward to Christmas morning. I woke up bouncing with excitement. I've been hyping myself up for months. I just knew I was getting it. I ripped open the wrapping paper, and there was, but not really. My heart sank faster than the Titanic. Sitting in front of me was not a PS5. It was a Sega Dreamcast. I looked at it. Then I looked at Carl. Then back at the Dreamcast. I was in denial. Dad, I said, trying to stay calm, this is a Dreamcast. Where did you even find this? Did you rob a time capsule or something? Carl, bless his forgetful soul, looked at me with absolute confidence and said, Oh, didn't you want that? Before I could respond, my sister Laura opened her gift. She pulled out a PS5, a brand new PS5. She looked at it, then looked at Carl and said, Dad, I didn't want this. I don't even play video games. Carl scratched his head. Wait, I thought you wanted that, Laura. I turned to her. She turned to me. We exchanged that sibling look of mutual disappointment in our father. Then it got worse. My mom opened her gift. It was, and I swear I'm not making this up, a giant samurai sword. Mom stared at it for a solid 10 seconds, then turned to Carl. Carl, why would you give me a samurai sword? Does it look like we swing swords in this house? Carl, now on the defensive, said, But babe, you were watching that samurai movie the other day, so I thought. No, Carl, Mom interrupted. I was watching it because it was on TV. That doesn't mean I want to start a collection. At this point, everyone was mad. Laura was holding the PS5 she didn't want. I was holding the Dreamcast no one asked for. Mom was holding the sword like she was about to use it. And Carl? Carl looked at us and said, with absolute sincerity, Y'all want some juice? And that's how my Christmas turned into a sitcom episode. All right, let me set the scene for you. It's Christmas, and my girlfriend Meg decides this is the year I meet her family. Now, here's the thing. Meg's family? Not exactly the warm and fuzzy type. I've heard stories. Stories about her brother Sean snapping over a bag of chips. Stories about her dad glaring at guys like he's casting for the next mob movie. But Meg convinced me it'd be fine. They're a little intense, but they'll love you, she said. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We pulled up to her house, and I was already sweating. Meg knocked on the door, and I heard this deep, menacing voice from inside shout, Who is it? Meg, all calm and unbothered, shouted back, It's us, Sean. The door swung open, and there he was, Sean, covered in tattoos, including a big old fist on his forehead. He grinned at Meg and said, Come in, little sis. Mom and them are waiting. Then he looked at me like I was a stray cat she brought home. I followed Meg inside, trying to blend into the wallpaper. But as soon as I stepped into the living room, I felt it. The stare. Meg's dad was sitting in his chair, arms crossed, eyes locked on me like a hawk. Babe, I whispered to Meg, why is your dad looking at me like that? She laughed like it was no big deal. Oh, babe, don't worry. He's always like that. Sure, Meg. That's so comforting. Dinner came, and I tried to stay quiet. But her dad's eyes never left me. It was like he was waiting for me to say something dumb. Finally, I decided to break the ice. How are you doing, sir? I said, try to sound confident. Big mistake. Her dad slammed his hands on the table and stood up. What? Say it with your chest, little man. Before I could even process that, Sean was up too, standing next to his dad. They both stared me down like a tag team in a wrestling match. I leaned over to Meg and whispered, I think it's time to go. But Sean smirked and said, No, you ain't going nowhere. Then Meg's dad shouted, Sean, you know what to do. I braced myself. Was I about to get tackled? Punched? Thrown out the window? Nope. Sean walked over to the stereo and cranked up Doja Cat's Say So. And then it happened. Meg's dad started breakdancing. I'm talking spins, flips, moonwalks, the whole deal. As he danced, he shouted, What you gonna do? I'm too good for you, little dude. I just sat there, blinking, trying to process what my life had become. I leaned over to Meg. What is he doing? She shrugged like this was totally normal. Oh, my dad used to be a breakdancer back in the day. He can never give it up. So there I was stuck at the Christmas party from another dimension, watching my girlfriend's dad challenge me to, I don't know, some kind of dance battle. Needless to say, I didn't win. But hey, at least I survived. Some Christmas party. All right, let me tell you about the Christmas that almost ended my family's holiday celebrations forever. It started like any other Christmas. Cozy vibes, decorations everywhere, and the smell of cookies baking in the kitchen. I was feeling good, ready for a nice, calm day with everyone. Little did I know, disaster was already in the oven. See, this year, my Uncle Jerry was in charge of the turkey. Now, Uncle Jerry is... how do I put this? He's the kind of guy who watches one episode of a cooking show and thinks he's Gordon Ramsay. Last week, he called to tell us he was dry brining the turkey, whatever that means, and that it was going to change our lives. I didn't trust him, but my mom said, give him a chance. He's trying. Big mistake. Fast forward to Christmas Day. The turkey had been in the oven for hours, and the smell coming from the kitchen? Let's just say it wasn't exactly mouth-watering. It smelled like burnt toast and sadness. I peeked in to check on Uncle Jerry. He was standing there with an oven mitt on one hand and a fire extinguisher in the other. Uncle Jerry? I asked. Why do you have that? No reason, he said, grinning like a man who'd definitely done something wrong. Finally, it was time to carve the turkey. My mom handed Jerry the honor, and he strutted into the dining room like a king. But as soon as he tried to slice it, we all heard the most horrifying sound, clang. The knife bounced off the turkey like it was made of steel. Is this turkey or a medieval weapon? I asked, tapping it with a fork. Sure enough, the fork bent. Jerry started sweating. It's the dry brining process. Adds texture. Texture, my cousin Rachel said. It's a bowling ball. At this point, we were all laughing so hard we couldn't breathe. My grandma, who is normally the sweetest woman alive, leaned over and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. This is why we never let Jerry cook. But the chaos wasn't over yet. Jerry, determined to save face, grabbed the turkey and declared, I'll fix this. He marched back into the kitchen and accidentally dropped the entire thing on the floor. The turkey rolled. Yes, rolled. Like a boulder in an Indiana Jones movie. It hit the dog's water bowl, splashing water everywhere, and then finally came to a stop under the Christmas tree. We all just stared at it, silent. Then my dad, trying to keep the peace, said, well, guess we're having sides for dinner. And that's the story of how Uncle Jerry was banned from cooking at Christmas. To this day, we still call it the year of the indestructible turkey. Okay, so last Christmas, I learned a very important lesson. Never, and I mean never, underestimate the destructive power of a candy cane. Let me explain. It all started at my cousin Danny's house. Every year, we have this big family Christmas party where all the aunts, uncles, cousins, and random people nobody remembers inviting show up. Danny always tries to one-up himself with party games, and this year, he came up with something he called candy cane jousting. Now, if you're wondering what that is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You take 2 giant candy canes, those oversized ones you get at the store, and use them like swords while riding on pool noodles. The arena was Danny's living room, and the rules were simple. Knock the other person off their noodle. The winner got bragging rights and the last piece of pie. Naturally, I thought this was the dumbest idea ever. Naturally, I joined in. Round 1 was hilarious. My cousin Rachel and Uncle Lou went at it, and Rachel won after Uncle Lou tripped over the coffee table. Everyone was laughing, and it seemed harmless enough. But then it was my turn. I was up against Danny himself. And let me tell you, he took this way too seriously. He came out wearing a colander on his head like a helmet and chest padding made out of throw pillows. I figured I didn't need armor because, it's a candy cane. How much damage could it do? Big mistake. The match started, and Danny came at me swinging like he was trying to audition for a medieval battle reenactment. I blocked his first few hits, but then he pulled some kind of ninja move and smacked me square on the side of the head. The candy cane didn't break. It just bounced, which somehow made it worse. I wobbled, but I wasn't going down without a fight. I swung back, and my candy cane hit him right in the chest. He lost his balance, tripped over the rug, and fell backward into the Christmas tree. That's when things really went south. The tree wobbled and then toppled, dragging the lights, ornaments, and a very heavy ceramic star straight down onto Danny. He yelped like a cartoon character and tried to crawl out, but he slipped on the tree skirt and landed face first into the tray of holiday cookies. We were all laughing so hard until someone shouted, is his nose supposed to look like that? Yup, Danny had managed to break his nose with a candy cane. So, off to the hospital we went. Danny sat in the ER, still covered in cookie crumbs and tinsel, explaining to the nurse that yes, he needed an x-ray because of a candy cane jousting accident. The nurse couldn't stop laughing, which did not help his mood. By the time we got home, Danny had a bandaged nose, and the rest of us were banned from playing games inside the house ever again. So yeah, that's how Christmas turned into a jousting tournament and ended with Danny in the ER. But hey, at least I got the last piece of pie. Alright, let me tell you about the Christmas my little sister, Emily, went completely off the rails. I swear the whole family is still talking about it. So, Emily was that kid, the one who believed in Santa Claus with her whole heart and made it her personal mission to spread the gospel of St. Nick. I'm talking essays at school, random presentations at dinner, and even a Santa is real poster she taped to the fridge like it was breaking news. She was hardcore. The rest of us, being older and wiser, just let her roll with it because, honestly, it was kind of adorable until it wasn't. By the time Emily turned 12, things were getting out of hand. She still wrote letters to Santa and left out cookies and milk, but now she was interrogating adults. Have you ever seen him? Where does he park the sleigh? Is it magic gas? Or does he use reindeer food? She even told her teacher that if she didn't believe, she was part of the problem. So, my parents decided enough was enough. They gathered the whole family, me mom, dad, Aunt Linda, Grandpa Joe, and even the dog for the talk. You know, the one where you gently explain that Santa isn't real and hope they don't hate you forever. Spoiler, it didn't go well. It started off okay. We were all sitting in the living room with Emily in the center. Her face lit up like she was expecting some grand announcement about her Christmas gifts. Mom began softly. Sweetie, you know we love you very much. Emily squinted. Why are you talking like someone's about to die? No one's dying, Dad said quickly. It's just, well, Santa isn't exactly what? She cut in, her eyes narrowing. He's not real, Mom blurted out. Dead silence. Emily just sat there blinking like someone hit the pause button on her brain. Then she tilted her head and said, What do you mean? Oh no, Grandpa Joe whispered. Mom tried again. Honey, Santa is more of a symbol, a spirit of giving, you know? That's when it happened. Emily's face went through every stage of grief in 10 seconds. Shock, denial, anger, bargaining, and then full-on meltdown. She stood up, pointed at all of us, and screamed, Liars! All of you! You've been lying to me my whole life. Emily, calm down, Dad said, trying to approach her like she was a wild animal. Calm down, she yelled. You expect me to calm down after you killed Santa? Who does that? Who kills Santa? And then she ran upstairs, crying and muttering something about betrayal. We thought that was the end of it, but oh no. 20 minutes later, Emily came stomping back down, holding a piece of paper. If Santa's not real, who's been answering my letters? Huh? Explain this. She slapped the paper down on the table. It was a handwritten note from Santa, in my mom's very obvious cursive. Oh, for crying out loud, Aunt Linda said, grabbing the note. Emily, it's time to grow up. Santa's not real. The Easter Bunny's not real. And for the love of God, the Tooth Fairy's not real either. That sent Emily spiraling. Not the Tooth Fairy too, she howled. At this point, even the dog looked concerned. It took hours to calm her down. She finally stopped crying when Grandpa Joe handed her a plate of cookies and promised she could have whatever she wanted for Christmas. But the damage was done. The next day, Emily marched into school and gave an angry speech to her entire class about how the adults were conspiring against kids. She even made a PowerPoint titled The Santa Scam: Lies, Deception, and Cookies. It's been 5 years since that Christmas, and Emily still refuses to let us live it down. She ends every family gathering with, Remember that time you guys ruined my life? Honestly, totally worth it. Let me take you back to one of the most embarrassing nights of my life. One that somehow turned into the best thing that ever happened to me. It was my junior year of high school, and the big Christmas-themed party was the event of the season. I wasn't exactly the most confident guy back then, but I had a crush on Sasha, the most beautiful girl in school. She wasn't just pretty, she was stunning. Sasha was half Korean, half Puerto Rican, and looked like she belonged on the cover of a magazine. She had this soft voice that made even the most boring conversations sound like poetry, and every guy in school was basically in love with her, including me. The problem? Sasha barely knew I existed. Anyway, I show up to this Christmas party, and the place is packed. Lights were strung everywhere, a big Christmas tree stood in the corner, and the DJ was blasting Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You on repeat. I wasn't really in the party mood until I saw her. Sasha walked in wearing this sparkly red dress that made her look like an actual angel. I swear, time slowed down. She laughed at something her friend said, and I was done for. My friend Mike nudged me. "Dude, you gotta talk to her." "What?" "No way," I said, gripping my plastic cup of Kool-Aid like it was a lifeline. "Bro, it's Christmas. Be bold," Mike said, shoving me toward her. So there I was, walking toward Sasha with my heart pounding like a drum solo. She noticed me coming, and for a second, I thought she smiled. I froze. Should I compliment her dress? Her hair? Or just say Merry Christmas and pray I didn't sound like a total dork? "Hi, Sasha," I managed to say, my voice cracking just a little. She turned to me, her soft brown eyes sparkling. "Hi, Anthony. Having fun?" She knew my name. Yeah, great party," I stammered, trying not to sound like an idiot. Then it happened. I was so focused on how good she looked and how amazing she smelled like cinnamon and vanilla that I didn't notice I was still holding my cup at an awkward angle. One quick gesture, and boom, bright red Kool-Aid went all over her dress. The music stopped. Everyone went silent. Sasha just stood there, looking down at her ruined dress, then back up at me with these wide, sad puppy dog eyes. I panicked. I'm so sorry," I stuttered, trying to find anything to fix it. "A napkin? A towel? A time machine?" She didn't say a word. She just turned and ran out of the room. The party went back to normal after a while, but I couldn't enjoy it. All I could think about was how I'd managed to completely humiliate myself in front of Sasha. Fast forward 2 years. I was hanging out at my friend Kevin's house, just chilling in the living room, when Kevin said, "Oh, by the way, my cousin's visiting. You might know her." I turned around, and there she was, Sasha. She looked the same, maybe even more gorgeous, if that was possible. She saw me, paused for a second, and then pretended not to recognize me. "Hey," I said nervously, waving like an idiot. She gave a small smile. "Hi." We didn't say much that day, but it stuck with me. A week later, I messaged her on Instagram, apologizing for the Kool-Aid incident. Yes, 2 years later, I was that guy. To my surprise, she responded. Honestly, she wrote, it was kind of funny. I just didn't know what to say at the time. That one message turned into hours of texting, then long phone calls, and then dates. Now, we're engaged. Sasha still teases me about the Kool-Aid spill. She even joked about serving Kool-Aid at the wedding. But honestly, if that night hadn't happened, I might never have worked up the courage to talk to her. Funny how life works, huh? I hope you guys enjoyed these random stories. More to come. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.